20 months later, new records obtained by the KVUE defenders reveal a chaotic police operation which officials admit could have contributed to protester injuries.
These new documents provide the first deeper look at how APD responded to the unprecedented protests and chronicles what the police chief says were mistakes from the top down. Here's senior reporter Tony Plahetsky.
This is footage that first raised alarms about how Austin police officers were using so-called less lethal ammunition outside APD headquarters on the first full day of protest in May 2020. It shows then 16-year-old Brad Levi Ayala collapse after being shot with a beanbag round, leaving him with severe head trauma. After reviewing hundreds of pages of new records obtained by the KVUE defenders, we now know what was happening behind the scenes at the police command center. Through partial depositions and civil lawsuits of then APD Chief Brian Manley and current Police Chief Joe Chacon, the documents reveal a department caught off guard by the size and intensity of the protest. Chacon testified, "We knew the protests were coming and we were certainly trying to plan for it. I don't think we planned for the scope of these protests, for the sheer size of the crowd that was going to be coming out. I don't think in the end it was adequate for the size of everything that we saw." The May 2020 protests were unlike any the city had ever seen. Unlike traditional protests over battleground issues like abortion or gun rights, the target of these protests, the police themselves, were right here, adding to an already combustible situation. Much of the public scrutiny of the protest and the focus of a Travis County grand jury and prosecutors is on the use of beanbag rounds that injured multiple protesters, including Ayala. According to transcripts, some officers testified that they were given, quote, "no rules of engagement and no tactical instructions about the weapons." Chacon testified, quote, "because it was to a good extent disorganized, that led to us not providing the clearest instructions that we could have with regard to that weapon system. I think that, the fault lies at many levels, including the supervisory level, but honestly, it goes up to the highest levels as well." The department now acknowledges that officers were shooting rounds from elevated surfaces, including from the front of APD headquarters and farther than the 75 feet recommended by manufacturers, possibly accounting for the severity of some injuries.
This isn't a situation where officers made unilateral decisions to use one tool or another. This is what they were provided by the department and assigned.
The day after Ayala's injuries, the number of wounded increased. They include Anthony Evans, who was shot in the cheek.
Put my hand up and started running, like jogging, and then turned my face, and then as I turned, I got shot in the cheek.
APD now acknowledges that they also suspended certain reporting requirements for uses of force that might have alerted APD brass sooner that people were getting hurt. In his deposition, former Chief Brian Manley says officials wanted to keep officers on the front line of the protest, but that because of that, missed a key opportunity to realize beanbag rounds were hurting protesters and potentially put new protocols in place for officers. Manley testified, "I agree that we couldn't have officers stepping off the line and going inside to write reports, but I do think we could have handled it better." A year and a half later, asked by an attorney representing several injured protesters whether he is ashamed of the department's response, Chief Chacon responded, "I would say that there is some level of shame because I represent the police department. I don't like that this happened. I want to take steps to make sure we never have anything like this happen again." For the KVUE defenders, Tony Plahetsky, KVUE News.
Tony, thank you.